the thing with farming is that it's not for the faint-hearted.
Not at all.
It's not for the faint-hearted because when the losses come, they can come big. When the profits come, they'll come nice. You need to make really, really critical decision, and you need to make sure you're not slack. You need to make sure you are bold and you don't compromise.
Hi guys, welcome to Uganda. Please like this video, and if you've not yet subscribed, please subscribe. Now on today's episode, we have a very popular, can I say popular?
Oh yes.
Oh, okay.
Famous.
Oh, okay.
And loved.
Yeah, the most popular, famous and loved YouTuber in Uganda. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi guys, welcome back to Uganda. Like she said, subscribe to the channel.
Thank you.
I'm Dr. Daniel from Farm Up. My YouTube channel is called Farm Up, and I'm a seasoned farmer for now. I started out as a poultry farmer.
Yeah.
But currently I'm doing way more than poultry.
Right.
Yeah.
I see you trap bees.
Exactly.
You help deliver you help cows deliver.
Exactly. So we have cattle.
I'm seeing pythons somewhere.
Yeah, goats and sheep.
Yeah.
And everything.
Yeah. Now tell the people, how did you start Farm Up? And because you were a doctor before, right?
Oh yes.
How did you transition from being a doctor to being a YouTuber?
So when I started out from being a doctor, the whole idea of starting a farm is that I wanted an extra source of income.
Right.
This is Uganda, and the money is just never enough, especially for some of these professions that we think have money. It's just not enough.
Yeah.
So I decided to go into farming. But then when I decided to join farming, I thought, I think I need to share this information with other people because I personally had a really hard time getting this information.
Right.
Really, really hard time. So I decided to start a YouTube channel, share all the information that I have about poultry on the channel. And then slowly by slowly, I noticed that I love this farming thing. It was now more than just poultry. I noticed that I love it and I enjoy it. So I decided I'm going to expand into other forms of farming. And then I later started thinking of quitting my job, quitting medicine. If it's enjoyable, if it's giving me the money and I'm doing it well, why not quit the medicine and impact people in another way? Right. So I decided to start the quit medicine. If you watch my channel, Farm Up, you'll notice that I quit medicine a few months ago, and now I'm solely concentrated on farming and of course the YouTube channel, sharing with people my journey.
You know, and it's so important when you share this information because, like you said, you're teaching people what you are not seeing. You know, you are looking for this information and you couldn't find it, so now you're teaching the people, and I think that is what counts: social impact, positive impact on society. Now, congratulations on your 400-acre farm.
Oh, thank you. You said
it's 2 kilometers if you just walk through?
Yeah. The length is, the diameter is probably around 2 kilometers. So
wow.
It's quite a huge farm.
It is.
But it's enjoyable.
Yeah. And for someone your age, I'm sorry to say, but for someone your age to achieve that amount of success and have what you have, that's really, really big.
Oh, yeah. It requires ambition and focus.
So we want to know, how did you get it? People want to know. Even people abroad themselves, they want to know, how did you get the land? How did you acquire the land? How did you pick the location that you chose? How did you do all that?
Yeah, exactly. So farming or getting land in Uganda, land is not as cheap as people think.
Right.
Sometime
real estate in East Africa is hard.
Yeah, exactly. Sometime back I had someone, I think from the US, text me, and he wanted me to help him identify land. And every time I would give him the prices, he would be like, that's too expensive for Uganda. And then I was thinking, like, it's land. Just like there's land in the US, there's land everywhere. Why do you think that this is way cheaper? So it's not as cheap for us, because what's happening is that I'm partnering with someone.
All right.
Yeah, I'm partnering with someone. I'm not. So I have two farms. There is the farm that I've always had.
The one in Bale.
Yeah, which is in Bale.
Yeah.
I've always had the farm, and it's on my dad's land. But then I also got 2 acres just adjacent to it, which I'm going to be expanding onto. So, and then there is this other farm in a location that I won't be talking about on the channel.
Don't talk about it.
For reasons that I'll keep personal.
Keep the mystery. It's okay.
But this farm is not as far from Kampala. So that's why I chose. That's why the location was ideal.
Yeah.
It was a perfect location for us because it's not so far from Kampala. So if you're going to be having a huge farm, 400 acres, you want to do lots of commercial farming.
Right.
You want to do big stuff and you'll need to probably export to countries around. You need to have quick access to the airport.
Right.
My farm in Mbale was around 4 hours away. This one is, less than 2 hours away. So that's really, really important. That's one of the reasons we got such a place. Number two, when you're going to be doing such kinds of farming, you're going to need space for possible expansion. Because if you've built your farm, you've gotten a certain capacity for chickens, and then you're thinking you can expand.
Right.
You don't want to get a place and then you need to go to another place, which is probably 50, 60 kilometers away. So it's better to get big at the same time and then expand into it.
Right.
Yeah. So with contacts over here and over there, the land was identified.
Yeah.
And the land was purchased and
Just like that.
Yeah.
Just like that. Now, how do you hire? We had a podcast with you before. If you've not yet watched that, we're going to put it in the description box so you can watch that. And he talked about how he does hire his people. But just for the new people here, how do you hire your staff?
Yeah, hiring staff is very important. It's actually for a farm. I think the most important thing is the staff. Because for us in Uganda here, the staff that usually work on farms are not like very educated people.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
Because you won't be able to get a lawyer or a doctor and pay them 2 million to work on your farm.
Right.
Yeah. So the people who come on farms are not very educated. Now that comes with limitations in that usually they're not very accountable people. They need lots of supervision. There are decisions that are quite hard for them to make, so they'll always leave particular decisions for you. So it's important when you're hiring because you need to get someone who is actually accountable. If a chicken dies, that person must be able to account. Yeah, the person must not be lazy. They need to be able to make critical decisions sometimes because I won't be around full time, 100%. Yeah, but if a critical decision is not made, an animal might die.
Right.
You understand? So it's
life
really
or death.
Yeah, it's important. So it's important that you hire dependable people. So while I'm hiring for both my first farm and the second farm, I get the person, talk to them. Usually, before I would have interviews. Yeah.
Is that serious, guys?
Yeah, I'll ask you about your expectations. I'll ask you about your possible qualifications, any knowledge that you have. And then I'll tell you how much I'm going to pay you. And then I'll ask you to tell me if you have any problem with what I'm offering you. Because in the future, when we have a problem, I don't want you to say, you didn't do this for me, you didn't do this for me.
Right.
If you think you won't be able to sleep over at the place, then I'll tell you won't be able to work here because I need someone who can sleep over on the farm.
Yeah.
I'll need you to work this particular number of days. If you don't think that's good enough, it's okay. But I'll get someone else.
Right.
So it's important. And then we'll sign contracts. Because, we'll sign contracts because I don't want to be sued or I also want to be responsible for anything. If I chase you away while I've broken a contract, I should take a responsibility for it. So that's really important. And then when the person comes onto the farm, they know all the rules and the regulations that they need to follow.
Do you have rules and regulation on paper?
Oh, yeah. There's rules and regulations. Once you come, first day, all the rules are read out for you.
It's like a school.
Yeah. So that way, 2 days later on, you don't come to me and you're like, oh, I didn't know this. I didn't know that I was supposed to get up at 6 a.m. No. You knew it because I read it out for you. Yeah. So that's how I usually hire my staff on the farm.
That's perfect. And I think if you do that, then everyone knows what they're supposed to do, and then you kind of get whatever result it is you want out of the farm.
Exactly. And if you don't meet the requirements that because someone will come to you telling you I can do this and I can do this. After a week, you notice they can't do it. You let them go.
Do you hire relatives?
No, I don't hire relatives. Well, I've got relatives, a cousin who works for me on the farm. But besides him, I really don't hire relatives because they're quite complicated to work with. Yeah.
Mixing family.
Yeah, they seem not to, sometimes they don't seem to value what you've placed before them. And then the other thing is that they assume that you're at the same level.
Okay.
Yet you're actually the one paying them.
Right.
Yeah, but it's okay, we are the same blood, but they don't understand the difference of the levels and how important it is. Yeah. So hiring family, not something I would actually recommend. Sometimes you have to do it. Like I've said, I have a family member who works for me because he has a really different character. Yeah. But most commonly, they just don't work very well.
It's better safe than sorry.
Yeah, better safe than sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Now, speaking of your farm in Bale, you know, when most people see hens, they just think of laying eggs. What else can hens give you?
Oh yeah, so hens. Actually, if you're talking about poultry in particular,
poultry,
there's too much that can be done in poultry.
Right.
A lot.
Could you list?
Yeah. So you can do chickens for meat, which is the most
for meat. I
obvious
forgot
thing.
to mention that. Yeah.
You want
Sorry.
to eat chicken.
Yeah.
Nice. Number 2, you can do chicken for eggs.
Right.
Then you can do chickens to supply chicks.
Oh,
So
wait.
So for the farm that we are having in the bigger farm.
The bigger farm.
Yeah.
Let's call it the bigger farm.
Yeah, the bigger
please.
farm. We're going to we have what we call parent stock, and we're going to be supplying day-old chicks. Layers. Yeah, so the chickens that lay eggs, we're going to be supplying them. Now, it needs particular special chickens.
Yeah.
Which is not something very easy to do with. Usually the vaccinations, for example, are different. The chickens themselves are more expensive. They need more attention. So starting around end of October, I'm actually going to be supplying day-old chickens to people who want to start keeping chickens. So that's also something that's very, very important. Not so common because it's quite pricey to run, but that's another thing that can be done.
Right.
And then chickens can be used. There's a farm I visited where they were getting the chickens, extracting the egg yolk, and using it to make medicine. Oh yeah. So all they needed was the egg yolk. And they use the egg yolk to make medicine because it has particular nutritious things. Yeah. And so they would use them for processing medicines.
Wow.
So chickens can be used a lot for a lot of things. There are other things like byproducts of the chickens. For example, the chicken droppings. Very, very good for manure. Actually, it's the best manure that there is.
Right.
Yeah. So people come and buy it from the farm. They come and buy it. I sell it to them. Of course, it's never free. Yeah. And then if you have your own garden, you can also use the droppings in your own garden, to fertilize your garden. Yeah, so there's quite a lot that can be done with poultry farms.
Poultry, yeah, that's
and really... then on the other farm, I actually have other forms of poultry. So I have geese.
Oh yeah, the geese that I didn't know.
Yeah, we have geese, we have guinea fowls.
Wow.
Yeah, on the farm, in addition to the chickens.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting.
Yeah, that's really nice. And how do you market? How do you get the market for all the things you've mentioned and listed?
Yeah, so it's a blessing that I'm on YouTube.
Amen.
So now that I'm on YouTube, it's quite easy for me to get market. But I do understand that there are people who are not on YouTube.
Yeah.
And for them, it might be quite different for them because they don't have someone hitting them, sending them an email and they're like, hey, I saw you with your chickens. Can I buy eggs from you? No.
Yeah.
So for such groups, I would advise that if you're starting out small, it's easier you start out in an area which is closer to a trading center. Yeah? That way you kind of almost already have ready market, because what usually happens in those trading centers is that people will carry eggs, let's say from Kampala or from Mukono, and take them to Luwero or I don't know, Wakiso, and sell the eggs there in a car. Now, if you have your farm right in that place, you have an advantage in that those people are more likely to buy from you. If you're going to be selling at, for example, exactly the same price, those people are more likely to buy from you than from other people who are coming out. Number 2, since you're putting in less cost for transport, you're more likely to sell at a cheaper price and then get easier market. Yeah. The other thing that can be done is doing Facebook, Instagram, these free things.
Yeah, social media.
Yeah, use it. You'll be able to get market.
Yeah. Now, thank you so much for that. That was a free marketing and
free
sales tip. Now, do you think someone in the diaspora or people who are abroad can manage to set up farms in Uganda?
Oh, yeah. Very, very certain.
Really?
Yeah, very certain. It's possible. It depends. You need to be able to get someone you can trust to work with if you cannot be around. Now, if you can be around, perfect. Of course, you'll do it.
Right.
But if you cannot be around, you have to be able to get someone you can trust 100%. The only problem is that it's quite hard to trust people. Usually the easiest people to get to run for you farms is like your wife, because they have the same interests as you, or your husband.
Your losses are her losses.
Yeah, exactly. Or your husband, you know, or a child who you've groomed and trained very well. Your son, if they're probably like 25 and they understand, they'll be able to run the business well.
Right.
Otherwise, you need to get someone who you can trust. I've had stories of people who have sent me mail, who have sent money to another person. People on YouTube, someone you meet on YouTube, they're running a poultry farm, and then you're like, hey, can you help me start up and run a poultry farm? They send them money, and then the person
disappears.
Yeah,
it's a scam.
Yeah, it's a scam. The person is actually still on YouTube, but you just can't contact them in any way.
Oh my God, yes, because email.
Yeah, exactly. You
can't even out them because who knows?
Exactly. So that's what has happened. So you need to get someone you can really trust, and that's the problem.
Right.
But if you can get someone you can really trust, then running a farm is just like I would be running a farm, just the usual stuff of running a farm.
Yeah.
Just that running a farm is time consuming.
Is it?
Yeah, it is time consuming because on a farm there are no weekends.
Right.
Yeah, there are no weekends.
To even get you here was...
Yeah, there are no days off because the cows, the chickens, they eat every day.
They don't know weekends.
Yeah, they don't know weekends. Yeah, if they're going to be laying eggs, those eggs need to be collected every day. There is... So getting time to go for holidays, getting time to go for all those other things is quite difficult. That's why farming is usually done by people who have a passion for farming.
Yeah.
Because I don't mind being on the farm full time.
Yeah.
For me, I love it when I'm putting on my gumboots, I'm walking around the farm, I'm looking at the chickens, I'm looking at the cattle, I'll go once in a while, get a hook, go to a fish pond and pick a fish, things like that. So for me, it's enjoyable. If it's not for you, it becomes quite difficult because it's easy for you to make losses. The manager who you leave will start doing weird stuff behind your back.
Right. Oh, that's, I think it's possible if you put your mind to something.
Yeah. If you put your mind to it and you're interested and you're focused, then it is possible.
Okay.
And if you get someone to work, because the farm work can never be done alone.
Oh.
You cannot. Even me, while I'm on the farm, a lot can go wrong even while I'm on the farm because there's too much that you need to pay attention to. So you need to get people to, distribute in the different sections, and those people must be accountable and be able to report back to you in case of anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's some powerful stuff right there. Now, what challenges do you face as Daniel farmer?
Oh yeah. Challenges on the farm, like I've told you, the most common one is usually the workers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The most common is usually the workers, because I'll give you an example. There's on the farm, I had a guy who we hired to work in one of the poultry sections, and this guy would work perfectly every time I was there. But because the farm is so huge and there are other things to do, and sometimes you have to run off the farm to go and buy, let's say, feed or medications and things like that, or deal with other business. Every time I would leave, he would know that I've left, and he also leaves the section. Okay, so he would go to other areas, go and hide in the bushes because it's a big farm. So every time they would look for him, he would not be there. Now, I never had a bad account of him because every time I was around, he seemed to be working.
Yeah.
But every time I was away, people would complain that he's not working.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So the time we find out that this guy is a mess, that day I hadn't been on the farm like the previous night. And then I'm sent a message in the morning with a picture of a dead chicken. So this chicken was incubating eggs. It was seated on eggs, trying to hatch the eggs.
Yeah.
And it died from there. And it probably died the previous night or the previous day. And it was around 11 midday, and this guy did not know that there was a dead chicken.
Right.
And then they looked for him, and he was nowhere to be found.
Wow.
You get? So you understand the problems that can come in.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing. The second one, of course, is funding.
Really? For you?
Yeah, no. Well, yeah, because we have dreams. The money can never be enough. Yeah,
it can't.
Yeah, because the farm might be big, but I probably, for example, now that we are starting a hatchery, we need to buy incubators. Yeah, these incubators are really big incubators, and they're expensive incubators.
Very.
Yeah, so, sometimes you need to dig here and there, Then since it's a really huge farm, you have things like you need particular machinery.
Yeah.
You might need excavators, you might need huge tractors, you might need, and those things are really, really expensive. And if you don't have them, the work becomes quite hard, it becomes really, really slow. So those are things that, you meet in work. Those are the difficulties you meet.
Yeah.
But slowly by slowly, we are trying to
sort person. I saw in your channel you talked about losing money on your farm. How do you handle the losses? The 200-acre failure, you titled it.
So if you're talking about losing money, I've lost money in two different ways.
Yeah.
There was the 200-acre failure where we tried growing maize.
Yeah.
And the maize didn't turn out well. Yeah, we grew maize in a wrong, I wouldn't say wrong section, because it was our first time growing maize that section of the farm, or on the farm really. So we planted late, number one. We didn't have the right people to help us plant, and we probably didn't have the right knowledge. So, and then the seeds were really, really expensive. We had put in fuel for the tractors. We have paid workers and then we've just been harvesting that maize and we've barely got anything.
Yeah.
Then the other thing is my other farm, which is in Mbale. the chickens got sick, super sick, and they started dying.
Oh my
Actually, I had to
gosh.
sell them off. And they had only been laying for around 2 months. So I lost almost everything I had put in.
Yeah.
Quite an amount of money.
Yeah.
You know, probably 20 million or more. Quite an amount of money that
Yeah.
I've lost. And the thing with farming is that it's not for the faint-hearted.
Not at all.
It's not for the faint-hearted, because when the losses come, they can come big. When the profits come, they'll come nice. So it's not for the faint-hearted. You need to make really, really critical decision, and you need to make sure you're not slack. You need to make sure you are bold and you don't compromise.
Right.
Because
On
what
quality,
happened,
yeah.
because what happened is that I compromised because the farm was at home and my dad was around. I let him use the lower section of my chicken house. It was a big mistake I made, and I'm accountable for it. But because of that, the disease moved from his flock to my flock.
Right.
And now I had to sell off all the birds, and I lost all that money. But
Sorry.
I'm the kind of person who is very positive with life.
Bounce back.
Yeah, I do believe that just like I was able to make lots of money before,
Yeah.
I've made losses, but I can make money again.
Yeah.
So if it has failed,
Yeah.
learn from that. The most important thing is the ability to learn. Learn from that and do as much as you can to make sure that the next project is as good as possible.
Yeah.
Don't repeat the same mistakes, and it will be a success.
Yeah.
And for me, it was a loss, but the loss is a learning point. I don't feel it as a loss. I feel it as a learning point, and I believe the next time I start out on that farm, I'm going to do even better.
Perfect.
Yeah.
L is for lesson. It's not a loss.
Exactly,
It's a lesson.
exactly, lesson.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
You must be resilient, and
Oh,
you
yeah,
must
yeah,
be your ability to bounce back.
Exactly.
is
Farming is
important.
not for the faint-hearted.
Yeah.
Certainly not.
It's not. Speaking of money, how much is that? How much would you estimate a beginner would start with to start up a poultry farm? Just estimate. Give us an
A
estimate.
beginner, you see, when you say the word beginner,
He's
it
just
depends on
starting.
how big the farm you want to start. That's what changes
small.
a lot. Yeah. Now, again, it depends, because I started out with 1,000
Buds.
birds, and for a lot of people are calling that big. I felt like it was small for me.
Okay.
Yeah, you understand?
I do understand.
And I get people who tell me they want to start with 100 birds. If you're doing layers and you want to start with 100 birds, I feel like it's not business at all. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It's too much effort and too much time for so little profit. Yeah, so 100 is not something. If someone wants to start seriously, the minimum I would say is 500 birds.
Yeah.
You understand?
I understand.
But if you're going to be starting with, let's say, 1,000 birds like I did, I would say for you, until the point when the birds start to lay, because at the point when the birds start to lay, that's when you start getting back money. Until that point, you should have probably around 20-25 million set. Yeah, 20-25 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's money that you will need to have put in until that point, and then you can start getting money back.
Perfect. You've heard it from the guy himself. I mean, we did our best and brought Daniel
Thank
on
you.
the podcast. So if you're not learning, if you're not picking something, then that's all on you.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Daniel, thank you so much. Tell the people again how they can follow you. You know, some people don't hear.
Oh, yeah.
Help them. Tell them again.
Exactly, yeah. So, Dr. Daniel over here, guys, I'm a retired doctor.
Yeah.
I quit medicine 100% just to farm.
Yeah, but I think it will always be in your blood, because if you helped a cow deliver.
I actually do still practice a lot of medicine while I'm on the farm, because the farm has a lot of people, a lot of workers, and people are doing a lot of manual work. People get injured.
Yeah.
And I have to treat them myself.
Right.
So I have kind of like a mini clinic on the farm. And then a lot of people call you for consultations. Once in a while, I volunteer to do medical work.
Yeah.
But I don't go to like practice medicine to earn money.
Right.
I don't do that. Yeah. But my channel is Farm Up.
Yeah.
So if you want to learn anything to do with farming, yeah, poultry, goats, sheep. With this time we are doing cattle, we are doing bees.
Yeah.
Just go and click on the channel. The channel is called Farm Up. So just search Farm Up. You'll find the channel. On Facebook, you can find me as Farmer Poultry. Yeah, that's the handle, Farmer Poultry. And on Instagram, same thing, Farmer Poultry. Go and subscribe to the channel, and let's grow the farming passion right there.
Thank you so much. Now, guys, you heard it from him. Please also follow us on our social media pages: Kengana Nation Instagram, Kengana Nation Facebook, Kengana Nation Twitter. I am your host, Janita. We'll see you next time.